Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do a little mod here to the Kylin Vision Goggles. These goggles I got from Gearbest, and at the time I purchased them, actually I think Gearbest might have sent me these for review. But at one point in time these were on a very economical price of around $65. Those are up to $100, but anywho, that's what we're going to modify, and we're going to modify it by adding a DVR to it using the Eachine Pro DVR. You can get this for about 18 bucks, and this is not an original idea. Dan Q0 from RC Groups, he some time ago did this mod and showed pictures. What I'm doing, and I can take credit for, I guess, would be to film it. So we're going to take these apart and put that in. So the first thing would be this antenna. And I know we're kind of zoomed in, you can't really see the whole goggles right here, but that's not really the point, to see the whole goggles, because we're going to be getting into it and doing the soldering put, and that's going to be close. So no battery in there, there's no screws in here, and my preliminary inspection shows screws here and here. We've got screws that actually come up through the bottom of those two holes, then we have screws on the front. And I'm not sure if we have to take all these out or not, but I'm going to do it anyways. I think you could probably just take out the two at the front, on the top and the bottom, and pull the face off, and that gets us to where we need to go with the video receiver, and then we can solder this in. But let's take all the screws out just in case. This will be the part where I'll probably fast forward a whole lot. Alright, let's see what happens here. Is this just going to come out? Oh yeah, it comes out nice and easy. See, the screen is attached there. So we probably need to pull these two parts apart, maybe? What else do I need to do? What did I miss? Oh yeah, these sneaky little devils in here. Yeah, need to pull that apart. Okay, I'm going to put this back together, and we'll take the screws out of there. Let's see, what else do we got? Nothing over there. And down here at the bottom. Okay, let's do it. Alright, faceplate off. Now we should be able to separate the top and bottom halves. Yeah, that's going to come apart nicely for us. Well, maybe. I thought it was. It acted like it was gonna. Something fell off over here. Little beauty plate for this far side. Got our Fresnel lens in here. I'm going to take that out carefully. Or not. That thing is really in there. Okay. So, lay it over like this. These are my goggles of choice right now. My Quantum V2s that have the upgraded lens kit and the upgraded sock just aren't as comfortable, and the image is just not as clear. And I am a glasses wearer. My prescription is fairly light, but I find that the image is not only more clear with this lens, but I think it's a better quality image through the screen. I'm going to need to clean that before I put it all together. So there we go. There's where we need it to be finally. So, this is where we're going to need to do our work. So I'm going to have to rotate this all around so we can get ready to do that. Okay, so this is the connector that you'll want to use, but we don't need all these wires because in order to get the OSD to show up from this so that we can play back through the screen and we can see all the menus that this thing does generate, we would have to interrupt the video to the screen, and then it would have to come back to the DVR and then back to the screen. Because it's connected on this ribbon cable, I'm not for sure how we would go about interrupting the video signal to the screen to run it through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just like Dan Q0 did, and that's just make this record the DVR footage. So I am going to depin these top 3 lines. I'm going to take these out. We don't need them. Bottom line is our voltage in, then our next one is the black, which is obviously the ground, and then our video in. And that will allow us to record what we see through the goggles, but not play back and get the OSD functions. And to depin these things, it's pretty tedious to show on video, but you want to get something like a razor blade or something, and you just want to stick it under these little white spots. Let me see if I can get this to show up very well. Yeah, stick it under there, and then you just pull back on whichever wire you want to pull out, and it should just slide right out. You don't want to pry it up too much, because if you pry it up too much, these little plastic pieces that are holding the wire in will stay up. They won't go back down in case you ever want to put something back in there. So be careful when you're doing that. I use my trusty little razor blade knife. I just slightly pull them up in there. One trick, if you haven't done this before, is to go ahead and push the wire in a little bit. You might feel it jiggle a little bit, but push the wire in before you get this down underneath there. Then when you pull it back, it's not already pressing against that. But this is what it looks like after you've depinned it as we need it for this project. And it goes in this middle port. Slides in there nicely. So the second thing we have to worry about is our wire length. Now we're going to be soldering down to this, but of course the wires can't gather much in here, and we've got this top plate that will be going in over the top. So we want the wires to come, in my case, I want the wires to come out this way, and because we just have this little beauty plate over here and it sits in like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dremel. You could use anything that'll make a small little notch, and just make a notch in here, just big enough for these 3 wires to get through there. That's all we want to do. So I've made a little tiny notch, and this will just run through here like this. And I've done a dry fit. Always do your dry fit, make sure it works. I've actually taken more off than we need. I could have gotten away with doing a little less, and what I'll do to overcome that is before the final assembly, I'll take some liquid electrical tape, some black liquid electrical tape, to put it on the back side. You can see they've lined the inside with black, and that helps with light leak, to make sure you are dark inside so you can get to see everything. And then I'll just use some Duralock or something, and I'll secure it to the outside. And you could also tidy these up by running some heat shrink around it, which I'm going to do as well, just a little bit to have on the inside. So I'm going to put a little length of that, and that'll help keep things tidy inside so wires aren't just laying around. Next up, I'm going to use my blue tack. I'm going to tin up these wires, which they might be tinned already, but I like to add a little bit of my own. I'm going to scoot this all forward. Tinning is just a process of adding a little solder of your own. Typically is insurance to make sure it sticks. So here we go. This shouldn't take but a moment, and we can always trim back if we get a little burn back. Burn back is the vinyl or plastic coating on the wiring. Tends to shrink up when it gets hot. So I've got my little bit of heat shrink on here. I've got these tinned up. So it'll go in here just about like this. And then we've got room to solder these wires on. And I think, yeah, we can manipulate those wires around. I don't have any plans on shrinking that heat shrink down. But the spots that we need to solder to, I will grab a little pointer here because it's quite small. The yellow wire goes here to the second point. The red wire goes to the 5th point, so 3, 4, 5. And then the black wire goes to the ground, which is the 6th point. So yellow, red, black. So I'm going to add some solder to all of those now, and I'll probably fast forward this point because my hands are going to be directly in the way. Just want to get in and out real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Doesn't take much. I'm going to work from my left to right. And this is definitely going to be in your way. I apologize for blocking the screen. So if we count from the left, it's be the 4th spot, which is this one right here. Matter of fact, I'm going to go at an angle. I cannot see. Oops, bumped the camera. Sorry, folks. Alright, that's on there. And I'm going to put some hot glue across those just to make sure if one does come loose, it doesn't short something out. It probably will just stop working. Little pull test. This one doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. That's essentially it. Wasn't that easy? So I'll get my hot glue gun out and secure those down a little bit additionally. Make sure I don't block that tray because that's where our magnifying lens go. And then I'll be able to do this just like that. Whoops, bumped the camera again. Alright, the next time you see this, it'll be all back together. Okay, I've put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And there wasn't any really tricks to it. It's all kind of fiddly, especially with these side pieces, as you can see there. This has a little bit of a curve to it, so to blend in for that gap, I just used the foam tape that was included with the DVR, and then I have my Duralock in there. So if I do want to remove this, I can. I'm not sure why I would do that, but I might. I did use a little bit of electrical liquid tape on the inside, and that stuff works great. Light leak is gone. Black I used. I don't know if other colors are as good. But just over here, I've got one of my little micros, and we're going to test this thing. First thing, let's power it up. Alright. Woo! We got power. Let's go ahead and start a recording. Short press, flashing, that should be recording. Now just off camera over here, I'm going to plug in a little micro. So now, if we take a peek through the goggles, we see what the camera sees, and we're see if we got any sort of delay in our recordings. So it works. Fantastic. Short press turns it right off. Stops flashing, no more recording. Great, now I don't have to lug my Quantum V2s around to capture flight footage anymore. And you can do this too. Pretty simple. I think it'll probably take you 20 minutes after you get organized to do it all. The instructions that come with this are pretty clear, and I'll link down in the description box below the thread. We can all thank Dan Q0 for taking this on for us, and drop in, say thanks. Dan Q, if you happen to watch, good on you. Thanks for helping the community. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the section down below. And if you have any other tips for modifying goggles, whether it's the Kylin goggles, Kylin Vision Goggles, or other goggles that are like this, leave them in the comment section down below so everybody else can find those tips as well. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody.